Today we are making a video on Biglinux. This is a 2023 0411 edition. Its origin from Brazil and it has a KDE Plasma desktop environment and it is based on Manjaro Linux. And this is the boot menu of Biglinux. Here are some options as you can see. Let's boot it in a live mode. Start with proprietary drivers, support for new NVIDIA GPUs or a Broadcom wireless. And this is for old NVIDIA GPUs or AMD, Intel and other computers. Let's choose the first option and hit enter. It's going to take a maximum of a minute to load up the desktop layout and a minimum of 30 to 40 seconds, which is quite common in Linux distros. And I am running it on a virtual machine, which is VMware with 40 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM and 2 processors. So here we are seeing a black screen. Maybe we should see a logo, and here is our logo, which is Biglinux. It's running few things. It's going to take a few more seconds. I already mentioned it should take a maximum of a minute or a minimum of 30 to 40 seconds, and we should be having our desktop layout booted in. Almost 25 seconds completed. I think it's about to show up the desktop layout in any moment. Here is our mouse pointer and it comes only with the KDE Plasma desktop environment. Let's see what version do we get in a 2023 0411 edition, which is 2023 April 11th. So here is a mouse pointer working properly, and here is our welcome screen with the language selection. I'm choosing English United States. You can choose any language you want. There are plenty of languages available. And choose the theme for the applications. Choose anything you want. I'm going to choose the simple breeze. You can choose the breeze dark, fluent solid, fluent. There are a lot of options available. So I'm choosing the breeze on. Choose the desktop. Use GPU in browsers. A classic, KUnity, NextG, new. There are plenty of options available as you can see. DiskX, modern. I'm going to choose the new one, and it's going to take a few seconds. Here is our wallpaper loading. It almost took like 40 to 50 seconds already, or you can call it as a maximum of a minute. There's a lot of time consuming in the desktop layout processing. Usually the Linux distros take like 30 to 40 seconds a maximum. Even the development or alpha version should take under 1 minute, but it's taking a lot of time. And here we have our mouse pointer again with a black screen, and here is our complete desktop layout loaded completely. Let's first change the desktop display resolution. Let's try to stretch it. It automatically should change the display resolution because I'm using it on a virtual machine, which is a VMware. If you are installed this on your main PC or a work PC or on your hard disk, it shouldn't change automatically. You should change by clicking a right click on the mouse pointer, and here you can see configure display settings, and you should change it to your preferred or a desired location, desired settings or a desired resolution. Mine is 1920 into 1080 with a 16:9 ratio. It automatically given me that. And global scale, if you can't see the text or a font size properly, you can change up to 300%. For the 1920 and 1080 resolution, 150% should be the perfect combination and a perfect setting. It's my opinion. You can choose anything you want. And let's check the about system. The KDE Plasma version is the latest version, which is 5.27.4, and the frameworks version is 5.104.0, which is also latest version. Qt version is 5.15.8, and kernel version is 6.1.23-1 Manjaro, because it's based on a Manjaro Linux. And graphics platform is X11, and here is my hardware if you want, and this is the website, and this is the name of the Linux distro, which is a Biglinux based in a Manjaro Linux, and here is a systemd. And I'm just going to run through fast because it's going to take a lot of time just showing for this. If you want, you can change the speed in YouTube settings, and you can slow it down and check if you want anything. So let's run through pretty fast and open the system monitor, because we need to know how much resources are consumed before running any apps or running anything. So let's open the system monitor. I think case is good, and here is our system monitor. Let's open and check the version of the system monitor, which is 5.22.0. Here are all the processes running right now. In the beginning of the video, I'm going to open the system monitor again at the end of the video, and you will be having an idea of how much resources are consumed before and after opening applications. And the CPU is almost like under 20%, which is pretty good, and the RAM is almost 750 MB of 4000 MB, which is 750 MB of 4 GB, and swap is 90 MB or 0.09 GB. Here we can see a high peak in the beginning of the graph. As you can see here, I'm showing the mouse cursor, and after a few seconds it went down with a stable version or a stable graph under 20%. That is good. Let's close this thing and open the terminal and type in few commands for the info of the distro. We need to know some info, which is a console, which is terminal in a KDE Plasma desktop environment. About console should be 22.12.3. Let's type in few commands for the full distro info, which is, for example, inxi-sv8, which should provide us all the distro info completely. Let's scroll it up and check the important info. A host is a Biglinux, kernel is 6.1.23, and it's based on Manjaro, and it's a 64-bit architecture. Compiler GCC version 12.2.1, and KDE Plasma version is a 5.27.4. TKQT version is 5.15.8. WN Kevin X11 VT1, and these are some of the info. And the distro is Biglinux based in Manjaro Linux, and this is the RAM, which I already said, which is almost consuming 1 GB of RAM right now. And here is the CPU of my laptop. If you want, you can check that out too. And here are the display resolutions available, and let's scroll it down for some more info. We should be seeing some info here. If you want, you can slow down the video or pause the video and check it out, the available info there. And the processors running right now is 252, and uptime is 6 minutes. Wake ups is 21. Initiate systemd version is 252, and INXI version is 3.3.26, and GCC version is 12.2.1, and shell bash version is 5.1.16. Let's type in few similar command, which is INXI, and another one is INXI-B, small b, and let's type in INXI-G and hit enter. These are the same info, but which are divided completely in different types. That was the single command to get the all distro info. You can choose any command you want. It's clearly up to you. Let's type in cat:/etc/issue. Hit on enter, and here is some info. And let's type in neofetch if it's available or pre-installed. And here is our neofetch. Here is also the same info which provided. Let's type in htstop, hit enter. About console, and the CPU is running around 859 MB of 3.83 GB, and swap is almost 100 MB of 3.83 GB. This is some info. If you want, you can read it. And let me take you to their official website. The browsers you get in the Biglinux is the Brave, which is the best browser. In my opinion, it's should be different for you, but Brave browser is the best one for my opinion. Or if I was using the Brave browser, and I'm still using this in the mobile and internet wherever I use, like a PC, like that. And this is the website. Right now it's verifying I'm human or not. So the website URL is biglinux.com.br because it's from Brazil. You can change the language. I'm choosing the English. And this is the website. You can go through all the website and read the info if you want. All the things here, you can read it. I'm not going to go through all these things because I already made a videos on Biglinux. A lot of videos on Biglinux, and here are the minimum requirements and recommended requirements. And here you can see the kernel, latest kernels you want. You can choose it. You can download it through the download managers or the torrent client. You can choose anything you want. I'm choosing the Biglinux kernel 6.2, which is the latest version. Click on download. The version is here, 2023 4.11, and the file size should be around like let's check the file size. It's around 3.4 GB. I'm using a VPN, so it says 2 hours 1 hour left. So let's close this thing. The file size is around 3.4 GB with the latest kernel, and the older kernel has a 3.3 GB. Just a 100 MB of difference. You can choose anything you want. It says recommended 6.1 kernel. You can go through everything, and if you want you can choose anything you want. And here are the main programs, which is a KDE Plasma, the latest version, and KDE Gear, and LibreOffice 7.5.2.1, and Brave is 1. Let's check the browser version. They already mentioned here, so let's check it here, which is 1.50.114. Let's close this thing, exit the download, and let's see the available or pre-installed apps which comes with the Biglinux. On the games, we have 4 games. On the graphics side, just 2 apps, no GIMP. And on the internet side, we have a Brave browser, torrent client, and the remote desktop rest desk. On the multimedia, we have VLC media player, which is common in every Linux distro, GUVC view, and reduce microphone noise, simple screen recorder, and a converter. On the office side, you always get a LibreOffice and a Oculus. And a settings side, you have App Store, Big Store, Control Center, software update. On the system side, again we have some options you can install there, and the utilities have some apps here, and web apps you can use anything you want. So here are the social media apps, some Amazon Prime, all these things, important apps almost. And the Google apps, you have given the Google apps also here, and power session off. Let's try to install. I'm going to show you the process of installation or the formality of installation. I'm not going to install it, I'm just going to show it. And here you can read the tips. Click on continue. You can change the theme of dark and light, and you can choose here, select anything you want, performance, compatibility, and a pattern. I'm going to choose BTRFS. Click on select. Let's wait and see what will happen now. And here we have a Calamares installer, which is again common in every Linux distro. This is the common installer you will see in every Linux distro. The version is 3.2.61-11. First you need to choose your language. I'm choosing English. There are plenty of languages available. Choose any language you want. Click on next. Next, the location. I'm choosing any location. You don't need to provide the actual location. You can also choose it from here. I'm choosing Los Angeles. Let me maximize this thing, and you can see clearly. You can customize this settings if you want. If you don't want, you can keep it like that, no problem. Click on next, and here is our keyboard layout. I'm using a Dell keyboard, which is wireless one, but it automatically said this is a generic 105 key PC, and which automatically and always gives this keyboard for me in every Linux distro. So it works for me, and I'm going to choose that one. I'm using a English US and a default one. You can choose any languages you want. It's clearly up to you. Click on next, and here is the important part. You should always be careful here, because this is erase disk. It's going to erase everything, like a media, all the files, all the things in your hard disk and SSD, like that. Whatever you use on installing that device, it's going to erase everything and boot it in a single mode or a single boot. So be careful, and you need to have an idea of what you're doing here. And if you want, you can encrypt by providing the password in the both boxes. If you don't want, just keep it like that. And here is the bootloader. You can choose anything you want. Automatic one is the best one. And if you want to do not install the bootloader, you can install it later. It's clearly up to you. And this manual partitioning is to boot or a dual boot, or you can resize the partitioning. So you need to have an idea and be careful while choosing these options. Don't just blindly click on next like that. Be careful, and you need to have an idea, and you need to understand what is going on here. So here is my hard disk. You can choose here if you have multiple hard disk here. I'm using a VMware virtual machine, so it's going to say VMware virtual with a 40 GB of hard disk, which I already mentioned in the beginning of the video. Click on next, and you need to provide your username, password, all these things, because it's important. You don't need to provide your actual name and all these things. You can give any name you want. It's for PC. If everything is good, you will get a tick mark here. If wrong, then you will get a cross mark here. For the sake of the video, I'm choosing the simple password. You always need to give the strongest password, and always remember or write it down the password. It's better, instead of scratching your head for the password you forgot. Write it down the passwords. So here is the everything is good. So we got all the tick marks. Log in automatically without asking for the password. I choose this option. If you don't want, you can uncheck that. Click on next. And here is the summary of what we choose in the previous parts. I choose the location as American Los Angeles. All the things which we previously choose will be seen here. That's the reason they called a summary. So partition, I choose the erase disk, and this will happen after clicking on the install button. This thing happens after clicking on installing to the hard disk. If you want, you can read these things, and after clicking install, it's going to take a maximum of 20 minutes or a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes. All depends on your PC or the ISO file or the Linux distro. So after its installing process completes, it's going to say we finish. You need to click on finish and reboot the system, and the Biglinux should be installed in your hard disk, and you are ready to go as a single boot or a dual boot, as you choose, like that. So that's it for the installation process. So let's close this thing. I think we covered everything, I guess. Log calamari. Do you want to view or send the installation log file to the cloud? Generate a link. We don't need these things. So let's check out the desktop features. What are the desktop features? On the top, under the corner, right side corner bottom, you have a calendar, which is pretty good. You can see this is pretty nice. And here is a notification area. You can set it all the options you want. You can choose anything, you can customize anything. And this is the disks and devices, which is common in every KDE Plasma desktop environment. Linux distros which are based like that. And audio volume, you can resize this thing, which it is so jiggly, as you can see here. It's like a jelly. There's a good a transition there. There's a volume, and this should be a clipboard, I guess. It's a desktop layout, so that's it. Let's change the wallpapers and see what are the wallpapers available in the Biglinux. They provided a few wallpapers, and the others are from the KDE Plasma desktop environment, like 1 or 2, I guess. Nothing is from KDE Plasma desktop environment, I guess. They are all provided by the Biglinux. As you can see, the Brazil flag and some other options. Let's choose the bull. And the version of a folder view should be 3.0, which is always the same. And here is our new wallpaper. Let's check let's open few apps and check the versions of the apps, because some people need to know the version of the apps in the latest Linux, the 22.12.3, which already mentioned. They already mentioned that the KDE Plasma gear should be versioned with this thing. So let's try to open few apps, just few apps. I'm not going to open every app. Instead of opening, let's go to the store and check from there. By opening the app store, it should take a few seconds, a maximum of 30 to 40 seconds, but it opened instantly. That's pretty good. These are the updates available right now, and GIMP is also available. VLC media player, you can see the version here if you want. I'm not going to open every app and show you because it's going to take a lot of time and make the video pretty much lengthy. As you can see, these are all the versions available. If you want, you can slow down the video or pause the video if you want to check the specific software version. I'm just going to run through pretty fast because I don't want to make the video so lengthy. Even doing all the things, the video should be like almost 20 to 30 minutes. Even after trying making the video fast, it's going to take like 30 minutes of a video. So no one should be, I think no one will be interested in watching the 30-minute video, only few. These are all the apps and their versions. If you want, you can slow it down by going to YouTube settings, speed to 0.25, or you can pause the video. Do as you like. So let's check the updates available in the 2023 11.4 edition of Biglinux. It's almost 30%. Let's open the control center also instead of waiting for this thing. I think we pretty much completed or seen everything in this Linux distro which is available right now. Control center is looking good. Good night, wait, creating cache files. I don't know what type of control panel is this, because I forgot that I made a lot of videos, so I forgot when I made a old version of Biglinux. I don't know when I made the old video of a Biglinux. It should be like 2 months, I guess. Almost 100%. The Linux distro was pretty much fast in the beginning, but it's a bit slow right now. Let's see how much resources are consumed, and let's see the RAM consumption, because we'll get an idea of what happened there. And here are the latest updates available. Just a few apps, almost like 10 MB. That's good. That means everything is totally up to date. And here is the control center of Biglinux. As you can see, phone, customize. You can go through all these things on your own. I'm just going to run through all these things in a fast way. About, info center, cache system log, view system hardware info. This is the Biglinux which I showed in the beginning of the video. Let's open the system monitor and end the video. Memory is 1 GB of 3.8 GB, and swap is 0.21, which was 90 MB before and now 210 MB. And the memory was almost like 700-800 MB at the beginning. Now it's almost 1 GB. You can compare it by side by side, or remembering at the end, beginning of the video and ending of the video, and you will get an idea of how much resources are consumed in this process of opening all the applications. So again, that's it for the video. Let me take you to my channel, because this part is only for the people who didn't subscribe. People who already subscribed, no need to watch this step, you can skip it. People who want to watch my content without subscribing, this part is only for you. Just type in youtube.com and //925linux. This is my channel URL. If you want to visit my channel without subscribing, you can remember this thing daily, because I post 2 videos daily without missing any day from Monday to Sunday. And if you are using mobile devices, or if you're using a YouTube app in your mobile devices, TV or any devices, just type it in 9to5linux. If you're using a web browser in any devices, just type it in the complete URL. This is the URL. Click on enter, which will take directly to my channel. I'm using a VPN, so it should take a few more seconds. Here is my channel. Let's pause the video, and here are the some info. Let's first show you. I'll post 2 videos daily without missing any day, so I mentioned that. And these are the timing you need to visit at this timing. The video should be available before the timing, because I will be posting the video in a premiere mode, so you will be having an idea of what the content should be available that day. And here is the community. You will get the latest info, latest packages, latest Linux distros of the releases will be available here. You need to keep an eye on here. And if you are here only for the Linux content, just go with the playlist and you will see a Linux, and click on view full playlist under Linux, and it should open the Linux playlist. I already made like a 1552 videos, almost 1.5k videos, almost covered like a 70 to 80% of various types of various or different types of Linux distros. Almost every 70 to 80% of these Linux distros in this world available. I made almost everything. So if you want play all or shuffle, it's clearly up to you. And if you want to type it in the specific Linux distro or a specific system, for example like a MX Linux, the latest videos will be available here. It doesn't matter it's in an alpha version, beta version or a development version. As soon as the ISO file is released, I'll make a content on it, so you don't need to be waiting for some other channels. If you want to visit other channels, I don't have any problem, you can visit it. I will be providing the latest info, so if you want to subscribe you can. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. I'm not going to force you to subscribe. It's your opinion, I respect that. So this is the info of my channel. So let's close this thing and end the video. So I think that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.
Press